San Jose State University, June 2020. Imagine you had a time machine and take yourself to October 16, 1968. Where? Olympic Stadium, Mexico City. What would you see? Well, you would see this. After 200-meter dash sprint, two black African Americans on the stand. So, who were they? Tommie Smith and John Carlos. One of them was a son of a sharecropper from San Joaquin Valley. The other one came from Harlem. Both of them from poor families. This iconic picture caught everyone off guard because they represented what was perceived at that time a threat. Threat to whom? Threat to racism. Threat to many of the white Americans who were afraid of equal rights. Then, as is now, their message was misrepresented. They were portrayed as radical black power representatives, but it couldn't be further from the truth. They actually wanted to bring attention to inequality, to racism that was prevalent in America and still lives today, as we can see from the turmoil our country is currently in. And the media basically ran with it. When they were awarded the medals in Mexico City, they turned towards the American flag, raised their fist, and looked down. What was not noticed much at the time, that they were shoeless. The reason? They wanted to bring attention to poverty in the United States as well. Many people attacked them the same way like the bunker boy in the White House nowadays is attacking the protesters that protest against police violence directed many times towards black people and people of color. But Peter paid dearly. When he returned back to Australia, he was kicked off the Olympic team immediately, and when he qualified for the next Olympic Games in 1972, the Australian Olympic Committee, rather than sending him to represent the country, didn't send anyone in track and field in sprint 200 meters to the Olympic Games, so they could avoid the controversy of not sending the best sprinter, Australian sprinter, to the Games. And it persisted for years, basically until Peter died, I believe, in 2006. He was never invited to any official event, not even invited to Olympic Games in Australia later on. He was ignored until his death. He suffered depression and alcoholism, I believe. All this triggered by what they did to him. And he said later on in the interview with New York Times, I believe, that he never regretted his decision to join the team of 2 Americans in the protest. You see, Australia was not innocent as they may think. They may not have the black people, they might not have slavery or very little in the past, but they committed terrible acts of racism against their Aboriginal native Australian people. They separated the families, took their children, gave them to the white families for upbringing. They basically wanted to eliminate Aboriginals by forcibly assimilating them. So as I said, Peter paid dearly. Yes, this was a powerful moment. Tommie Smith, John Carlos, Peter Norman. 3 very brave people. And you see the gloves, each of them has 1 glove, one on the right hand, the other one on the left hand. Why? Because one of them before the ceremony forgot his pair of gloves, so they shared the 1 pair that they had. At the Mexico City 1968 Olympic Games, San Jose State University student athletes Tommie Smith and John Carlos stood for justice, dignity, equality and peace. Hereby the university and associated students commemorate their legacy October 16, 2005. But there are usually 3 people standing at the end of the finals on the medal stands. So who was the 3rd person? And it was white Australian Peter Norman, who got caught in all this unexpectedly shortly before they got their medals, but he joined them in peaceful protest against inequality. Two raised hands, 2 shoes, very powerful symbol indeed. Tommie Smith, John Carlos, Peter Norman. So, what is the moral of the story here? That racism persists or something else? I choose something else. There are always brave people who are not afraid to stand up, no matter who is against you. Government, media, public opinion, bunker boy in the White House, whoever it is, if they believe strongly in justice, some people will stand up, and we should really appreciate that those people exist existed and will exist, and we should be really grateful. I hope you liked what you saw, and if you did, please subscribe below, hopefully before I kick the bucket.